Another part of research ethics would be issues of conflicts of interest. Ethics of scientific research, we saw examples of, whole, where university labs have been purchased basically by private interests, corporate interests to promote a certain agenda. And there's definitely, issues about credibility that come out with that, because does somebody who's being paid to do a research by a particular interest group, are they beholden to that interest group? Would their findings, can we take their findings, without in kind of a more objective manner? And many would argue no, and I think there's a lot to be said for being skeptical about research that comes out of some interest groups. Um, Again, we talked about issues and how of trying to be objective, but we understand that how you know as human actors, we would probably have a difficult time to be completely objective in our research and in preparing research. So this is, but that there is something to be said about being skeptical of research, and who's doing the research, um, you know, uh, and as you can look up in how research is done, are there issues around about how the research was conducted that may cause that skepticism, you know, and even when research is being paid by certain interest groups, that it could still be good and still be valid. We don't want to throw out all research that comes, with that has some sort of that's been purchased or in some way, or but there is definitely credibility issues there, and there are definitely reasons to pause to understand in order to say whether or not we want to actually take that research for what it's saying, and that's also why it's important to not just look at one study. We need to look at broad ranges of studies that are done in in different situations, so we can get a better sense of what's going on. Now within research ethics, there's some issues. We're concerned with issues of bias. So now we're talking about sexism. As you can see from this image here, the issue that there's kind of this male-dominated view of the world, that has pervaded in research, and an image like this, a simple thing, danger men working, that the notion that that we view certain things in a gendered way, and to there are maybe valid uses for a gendered view of the world, but oftentimes in research, and historically, this has been taken to an extreme point where the voices of women and some groups have been overlooked or not looked at fully. And so we'll talk a little bit about how some of those issues are affected in research.